It's early in the year. Your resolutions have already started to crumble. That promise to wake up earlier, to finally learn something new, to become the version of yourself you imagined at the turn of the year, already feels distant, improbable, postponed to next week, next month, when you have more time. You already feel like you're late. Late relative to the year that barely started. Late relative to yourself. Late relative to some future version of you that you promised to become, but who, inexplicably, remains always one step ahead, always out of reach. But late relative to what, exactly? January is not the beginning of anything, not in nature at least. It's the middle of winter in the northern hemisphere, the middle of summer in the south. Crops don't sprout, animals don't give birth en masse. Nothing in the natural world starts over on January 1st. No natural cycle respects this date. January is an invention. A Roman emperor dead for 2,000 years decided to reorganize the calendar and place the beginning of the year here, in homage to Janus, the two-faced god who looks backward and forward simultaneously. And you woke up anxious because of it. The urgency you feel doesn't come from a cosmic cycle, from an astronomical truth, from something inscribed in the structure of the universe. It comes from a convention so ancient and so globalized that it seems natural, inevitable, real. But what if it's not? What if the very idea of being late, of losing time, of wasting days, of not making the most of the year is an invention? Not just a manner of speaking, but a structure of thought that was constructed, imposed, naturalized until it became invisible. What if time, as you know it, is not a discovery, but colonization?
It wasn't always like this. For tens of thousands of years, for 99% of human history, time was not what it is now. It wasn't a line. It wasn't a resource. It wasn't something you could lose or gain, save or waste. For indigenous peoples around the world, time was something completely different. Vine Deloria Jr., a Standing Rock Sioux intellectual, spent his life confronting the supposed superiority of Western thought. Trained in theology and law, he didn't romanticize indigenous cultures. He took them seriously philosophically. And one of his most disturbing observations was about time. Deloria showed that indigenous peoples didn't organize reality by time, they organized it by space. When something important happened, the fundamental question wasn't, when did this happen, but where did this happen? Location mattered more than sequence. Spatial relationships, the river, the mountain, ancestral land, were permanent, structural. Time was secondary, contextual. This wasn't technological limitation. It's not that indigenous peoples didn't know how to measure time. It's that they knew something we've forgotten. Measuring time changes time. Transforming it into a number, into a unit, into a countable resource. This isn't neutral progress. It's ontological change. It's altering the very nature of the experience of existing. For you, now, time is urgent. It passes. It demands. It escapes. You're always running against it, always owing something to it, always guilty of not using it better. But for peoples who thought temporally differently, this urgency would be incomprehensible. You can sit by a river for hours, observing, inhabiting, present. You're not wasting time, because time is not something that gets wasted. You're maintaining relationship with place, with cycles, with something larger than the fragmentation of minutes. The concept of wasting time is impossible when time is not a commodity.
Linear time.
The idea that history flows from the past, crosses the present, and proceeds inexorably toward the future seems so obvious that it's hard to imagine an alternative. But this linearity is not a discovery, it's an invention, and a specific invention: European, Christian, capitalist. The Christian narrative gave it initial form: creation, fall, redemption, apocalypse. A story with beginning, middle, and end. Time as a unidirectional trajectory towards something: salvation, final judgment, fulfillment of divine purpose. The Enlightenment secularized this structure, but kept the form. Instead of salvation, progress. Instead of divine providence, human reason. But the line continued, from ignorance to science, from barbarism to civilization, from backwardness to development. And when Europeans encountered peoples who didn't think in this temporality, they didn't see difference, they saw backwardness. Indigenous peoples weren't just in different places, they were, according to colonial logic, in different times. They lived in the past, they were primitive, literally first, ancient, earlier. This wasn't descriptive observation, it was hierarchical judgment, and this judgment had genocidal consequences. If you're backward in time, you need to be brought into the present. You need to be civilized, developed, modernized. Your culture isn't just different, it's obsolete. Your practices aren't valid alternatives, they're remnants of an era that should have ended. Deloria saw this with disturbing clarity. Colonization wasn't just theft of land, it was imposition of temporality. It was destruction of other ways of existing in time and their forced replacement with linear, progressive, productive time. And once you accept linear time as real, as natural, as inevitable, you implicitly accept the hierarchy that comes with it. You accept that there are advanced and backward peoples. You accept that history has direction. You accept that some ways of life belong to the past and must disappear. Linear time isn't just a way of measuring, it's a weapon. But temporal colonization didn't stop with the imposition of the Gregorian calendar over the lunar, solar, cyclical calendars of hundreds of cultures. It deepened. It entered the factories. It entered the clocks. It entered the very structure of daily life. Before the Industrial Revolution, time was fluid. Farmers worked until the task was complete, planting the field, harvesting the crop. Artisans worked at the rhythm of creation. Time was a measure of activity, not the other way around. But the factory demanded different precision. It demanded synchronization. Hundreds of workers needed to arrive at the same time, work at the same pace, leave at the same moment. Machines don't wait. Assembly line production requires humans to operate like cogs. And for that, time needed to be fragmented, divided, sold. You don't sell work, you sell hours, pieces of your life, quantified, priced, extracted. Time is money is not a metaphor. It's ontological transformation. It's the moment when existence becomes a resource, when your presence in the world gains exchange value. And once time is money, wasting it is sin. Morality intertwines with productivity. Rest needs to be earned. Leisure needs to be justified. Even your free moments are colonized. They need to be well spent, optimized, productive in some way. The Gregorian calendar synchronized the entire planet, everyone celebrating New Year on the same date regardless of local cycles. Time zones divided the globe into arbitrary but precise slices. Greenwich, center of the British Empire, became Meridian Zero, the point from which all time is measured. This wasn't coincidence, it was geography of power made temporal. And the clock, this invention that seems so neutral, so useful, became a tool of discipline. Punctuality became virtue. Being on time became moral obligation. Arriving late became lack of respect, of responsibility, of character. But late according to what? According to a clock that was standardized to coordinate factory work. A
according to a calendar that was globalized through colonial conquest. You didn't choose to live in this temporality. You were born into it. And it's so pervasive, so naturalized that questioning it seems absurd. But perhaps the absurdity is the opposite, never questioning. Now, in 2026, you carry colonial temporality in your pocket. Your smartphone isn't just a communication tool, it's a device of temporal synchronization. Alarms, reminders, notifications, calendar. Every minute can be scheduled, every hour can be optimized, every second can be accounted for. The promise was freedom. Technology would save time, and you'd have more life to live. But the opposite happened. Email was supposed to reduce unnecessary communication. Now you answer 100 per day. Productivity apps were supposed to organize tasks. Now you have infinite tasks organized in lists that never end. Remote work was supposed to give flexibility. Now you never disconnect because the office is always accessible. Each technology that promised to save time merely opens space for more tasks to fit in the same time. You became more efficient, and precisely because of that, busier. The paradox is cruel. The more you manage time, the more time controls you. You become a servant of your own calendar. You live jumping from commitment to commitment, from deadline to deadline, from urgency to urgency. And the persistent, inescapable feeling is of always being late, always owing, always insufficient. But insufficient relative to what? Not relative to real needs, relative to demands invented by a temporal structure that transformed existence into a race with no finish line. Look at the language you use. It reveals the prison. Lose time, gain time, save time, invest time, kill time. All treat time as a thing, as property, as resource, as enemy to be dominated or wasted. But Deloria would ask, what if you don't have time? What if you can't gain or lose something that was never yours to begin with? What if, instead of possessing time, you're simply in time, part of larger cycles that don't obey your calendars, your schedules, your fabricated urgency?
Productivity became morality. What did you do today? The question presupposes that doing nothing is failure, that existence needs to justify itself with activity, that human value is measured in output. Rest in this system is suspect. It needs to be earned. Did you work enough to have the right to it? It needs to be productive somehow. Are you recharging to return to work? Or at least are you consuming something, entertainment, hobbies, experiences, that keeps the wheel turning? Free time is colonized by guilt. You should be doing something, learning something, improving something. The idea of simply being, without purpose, without production, without justification, is almost unthinkable. And this moralization of productivity is not accidental, it's functional. An economic system that depends on perpetual growth needs you to be always doing, always consuming, always dissatisfied with now, always projecting happiness into a future that requires more work to be achieved. You live in the smallest present that humanity has ever experienced. And not in literal temporal sense, the seconds have the same duration, but in existential sense. You rarely inhabit the now. Your mind is in the past, regrets, nostalgias, edited memories, or in the future, anxieties, plans, idealized versions of you that don't yet exist. The present became an interruption, a brief space between what already was and what should come. You cross through it without inhabiting it. And this isn't personal accident. It's not your fault. It's a structural result of living in a temporality that treats the present as a springboard to the future, never as an end in itself. Peoples who thought temporally differently inhabited the present in ways you can barely imagine. And not because they were wiser or more enlightened, but because the temporal structure they lived in didn't perpetually push them forward. Cyclical time returns. Seasons come back. Generations succeed each other, but patterns repeat. There's no urgency to make the most of it before it ends, because there will be another spring, another planting, another cycle. Linear time never returns. Each moment is unique, irrecoverable. And this generates inescapable existential urgency. You have one life, one youth, one chance. Better not waste it. But waste according to what criteria? Imposed by whom?
The tragedy is that you know this somehow. You know you're trapped in fabricated urgency. You know much of what stresses you is arbitrary. You know the calendar is an invention, that productivity is morality is a construction, that the race is against something that doesn't need to exist. But knowing doesn't free you, because you don't live alone in an alternative temporal bubble. You live in an entire society synchronized in this temporality. Your job has hours, your bills have deadlines, your commitments have dates. You can question internally, but externally you need to operate within the system. And more than that, temporal colonization is so deep that it altered your own subjectivity. It's not just that society imposes external urgency, it's that you internalized this urgency. It's inside you now, inseparable from how you think, feel, experience being alive. When you try to just relax, when you try to live in the moment, when you try to stop worrying about time, the anxiety comes from within. You feel guilty, restless, as if you're doing something wrong. This is successful colonization, when you police yourself, when you no longer need an external clock because you internalized the clock, when urgency is not imposed from outside, you carry it voluntarily, thinking it's yours. Deloria said Western thought forces separations that other cultures don't make. It separates sacred from secular, mind from body, human from nature, observer from observed. And it separates you from time. It treats time as something external to you, something you compete against, something you need to conquer or that will conquer you. But this separation is artificial. You're not in a race against time, you are time. You are embodied temporal process, cells dying and being born, memories forming and dissolving, body aging, consciousness flowing. Separating you from time and then treating time as an enemy is ontological schizophrenia. It's being at war with your own processual nature. So, what to do? The question already betrays the colonization. What to do presupposes action, productivity, solution. It presupposes that every problem has an answer, that every tension has resolution. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe awareness of the prison doesn't come with a key to open it. Maybe knowing that urgency is fabricated doesn't magically dissolve it. Maybe recognizing that linear time is colonial construction doesn't give you back access to the spatial, cyclical, present temporality that was destroyed. You can't go back. The Gregorian calendar won't disappear. Clocks won't stop. Capitalism won't abandon the temporal synchronization that allows global coordination of production and consumption. And even if you could go back to what? To a temporality that was destroyed along with the peoples who inhabited it? Romanticizing indigenous past without recognizing the violence that erased them is another type of colonization. There is no return. There is no clean exit. But maybe there are resistances, small, local, partial. Each time you feel urgency and ask, urgency of what? You create a fissure, small but real. Each time you choose presence over productivity, sitting without doing anything, observing without judging, existing without justifying, you practice counter-temporality. It doesn't bring down the system, but it creates a pocket of different time within it. Each time you recognize that being late is a judgment based on an arbitrary timeline, you loosen a bit the grip of internalized urgency. It's not total freedom, it's possible freedom within a prison you didn't choose, but in which you were born. And maybe that's the most honest thing we can do. Neither naively accept urgency as natural, nor pretend we can completely escape it, but consciously inhabit the tension. Know that we run on a treadmill that was installed, but sometimes choose to step off it, even if briefly, even if the treadmill keeps turning. And you? When was the last time you inhabited the present without urgency, without guilt, without feeling you should be doing something else? Leave it in the comments and like the video if this resonated, not as confession, but as collective mapping of how temporal colonization manifests in each of us.
It's early in the year, or midsummer, or midwinter. Depends on where you are. Your resolutions have already failed, or are failing, or will fail. Not because you're weak, but because New Year's resolutions are a ritual of linear time. They're a promise that the future will be better, that you'll make better use of time, that this year you'll finally stop wasting and start living. But living how? According to what criteria? Imposed by whom? January doesn't mark the beginning of anything that nature recognizes. It's convention. Useful, perhaps. Necessary to coordinate complex society, certainly. But convention nonetheless. And each time you judge yourself for not making the most of the year, you're operating within a temporality that was constructed, imposed, naturalized until it seemed real. But it's not. Time is not a line you run. Time is a space you inhabit. And the deepest colonization wasn't stealing your lands. It was stealing your capacity to inhabit the now, to exist without urgency, to be without justifying. They convinced you that you're always running, always late, always owing something to a future that never arrives, because when it arrives, it's already become an unsatisfactory present that points to the next future. And maybe the most radical resistance isn't to optimize better, isn't to manage time more efficiently, isn't to finally make the most of every second. Maybe it's to realize that you're not in debt to time, that you don't need to justify your existence with productivity, that being alive, now, here, conscious, that's already enough. Not because you conquered sufficiency, but because sufficiency is not a conquest, it's recognition. You don't have time. Time is not a possession. You are time. Living process, embodied temporality, ambulatory present. And the urgency you feel, it doesn't come from having little time. It comes from living in a structure that taught you to treat it as a scarce resource instead of recognizing it as what you fundamentally are. The calendar will continue. Clocks will continue. Urgencies will continue. But maybe, sometimes, you can stop. Not to recharge, not to be more productive later, but simply to remember this urgency was invented. This race was imposed. This lateness is a judgment based on a line that someone drew and you never agreed to follow. And in that remembering, fragile, brief, insufficient, maybe there's a fissure where the present can, for a moment, stop being an interruption between past and future and return to being what it always was.